Welcome back to Return My Capital, and welcome back to the Dividend Roundup, where we take a look at any recently announced dividend changes, hopefully increases, upcoming ex-dividend dates for the week ahead, and upcoming dividend payouts for the week ahead. We are covering the week of May 26th through the 30th, so covering the end of May here. The 26th, Monday, is Memorial Day, so markets are closed that day. With that in mind, let's jump right into the recently announced dividend changes. We've got LyondellBasell, ticker symbol LYB. They announced a dividend increase of 2.25%. So small dividend increase, but when you go ahead and look at this yield, yield's almost up at 10%. You've got 3.25% short interest. Market cap is down to 18 billion. This is a company that I've had my eye on for years. I think when I was first looking at it, the yield was 5-6%, maybe 7%. So it's always a little concerning, at least to me, when you see a company with a dividend yield approaching 10%, and you're not talking about maybe a REIT or, there are certain types of industries, like let's say a sin stock, like something in the tobacco industry or, whatever. LyondellBasell, I believe they're a big materials company. Let's see, globally diversified. Yeah, it's definitely a chemical company, material sector. So oftentimes these companies aren't heavily covered. But that being said, LyondellBasell's down 25% just year to date, 42% over the past year, over the past 5 years, negative 17, and over the past decade, even down 44%. So it's been an awful performer from a share price perspective. You see revenue. I mean, this explains why it's been performing so poorly over the past year. Revenue back in 2022 was at 50.5 billion, and then last year in 24 it was down to 40 billion. Looking forward, hopefully a rebound, right? So 2025 EPS is pulling back 40%. That explains the performance. But they are expecting a big bounce back in 2026 of almost 56% on that EPS, and then an additional 25% in 2027. So, I would say if something like that holds true, then this would be a very attractive buying opportunity, right? You're getting a 10% dividend yield, hopefully a massive bounce back in that revenue, and certainly EPS in 2026 and 2027. From a valuation perspective, right? Price to earnings, you're talking about below market average, certainly non-GAAP of under 15. Profit margins aren't great, but it's a materials company. Balance sheet is pretty questionable. You're talking about a market cap of 18 billion, total debt of 13 billion, 2 billion in cash. Looking at that dividend, we already talked about the ridiculous 10% yield. But there you go, right there. There's the problem. 103% payout ratio. So obviously that's not sustainable. Dividend cut should be incoming, right? So, but all that being said, LyondellBasell did announce a 2% dividend increase just now. So maybe they think they can sustain it. It doesn't appear so from the metrics. But next ex-dividend date for LYB will be June 2nd with a payout of June 9th, $1.37 coming your way. Another increase was from Medtronic, ticker symbol MDT. I believe they're involved with medical devices. They announced a very minimal 1.4% increase, bringing that yield up to a nice 3.5%. They do have 48 years of consecutive growing dividend distribution, so almost a dividend king on MDT. They'll go ex-dividend on June 27th with a July 11th payout. You've got Northrop Grumman, ticker symbol NOC. I did recently do a video dedicated to the largest or some of the largest defense contractors. I'll link to that down below. I talk much more about Northrop Grumman. But as far as their dividend increase, just announced a fantastic 12% dividend increase, bringing that yield up to nearly 2% for an annual payout of $9.24. Still a very, very minimal 35, almost 36% payout ratio. They've been growing that dividend at a 5-year CAGR of well over 9%, and they are approaching dividend aristocrat status currently at 21 years. And their next ex-dividend date will be June 2nd with a payout on the 18th. And you'll have, it was $2.06. Now you got $2.31 every quarter coming your way. Last company that recently announced an increase is Universal Corporation, ticker symbol UVV. If you've never heard of them, it's not a large company, only $1.5 billion on the market cap, but I believe they're involved in the growing of the actual tobacco leaves that are then used by companies like Philip Morris and Altria for their tobacco and nicotine products. But yeah, small minimal 1.23% increase for Universal, 81 cents to 82 cents on a quarterly distribution basis. It is a dividend king, 55 years. What's their payout ratio look like on that dividend? Let's see here. They're going to make me work for it. Let's go to the dividend section. Dividend yield, we see current dividend yield 5.5% on Universal. 5-year, had you invested 5 years ago, your yield on cost would be a fantastic 7.5%. From a dividend growth perspective, very, very minimal, not even keeping up with inflation. But yeah, so that's Universal, minimal 1.25% increase. Moving along, that was all the dividend changes, no cuts to announce, which is great news. As I mentioned, for ex-dividend dates, market is closed on Monday, May 26th for Memorial Day. And if we look at Tuesday, May 27th, so it'll be two companies, but these are companies that are actually going ex-dividend on Wednesday, the 28th. So if you want to participate in the upcoming distribution, you need to own the upcoming two companies I'll talk about by close of business on Tuesday, the 27th. So you've got S&P Global, ticker symbol SPGI. They'll pay out on June 11th, 96 cents per share coming your way. Those shares are trading for over $500, so a very minimal yield of 0.75%, but they are a dividend king, 52 years of distributions. Looking at S&P Global here, it's been a fantastic company to own. Over the past year, up 17%. Over the past 5 years, over 63%. But over the past decade, up nearly 400%. Currently trading in the upper half of the 52-week range. 510 right now, the upper bound of that range, 545, the lower end, 420. Already talked about minimal dividend yield of 0.75% for an annual distribution of $3.84 on this $156 billion company. 2024 revenues, $14.2 billion. And you look at the growth on revenue growth, we're expecting 5 to 7% for the next 3 years here. EPS growth expected of 8, 12, and 11.5% for the next 3 years. Very, very richly valued, non-GAAP price to earnings on a forward basis of 30. So valued more richly than the overall market. When I say overall market, I mean the S&P 500. Gross profit margin, real nice 70%. Net income margin, a fantastic 27.25%. Healthy balance sheet, only $12 billion in $12 billion in debt, $1.5 billion in cash. Looking specifically at the dividend for S&P Global here, payout ratio is only 23%. They've been growing the distribution over the past 5 years, year over year at a 10% rate, 51 years of dividend growth. You look at that dividend growth chart, beautiful. I mean, 2014, $1.20 a year, 2024, $3.64 a year. So tripled that distribution over the past 10 years. And you see that dividend growth rate. So 10-year CAGR, 12%, 5-year CAGR, 10%. Your 5-year yield on cost, even though it is a great dividend growth play, your 5-year yield on cost would only be 1.2%, just because the dividend does make up such a small, it's such a small distribution, but it has been a fantastic company. Moving along, you've got Tractor Supply Company, TSCO is the ticker symbol. Certainly, if you live anywhere rural or you own livestock or you've worked on a farm or whatever the case is, you know what Tractor Supply Company is. They will be paying out next on June 10th, 23 cents a share. Shares are $50, so 1.85% yield on Tractor Supply Company, 16 years of distributions there. Moving to Wednesday, May 28th. So these are companies you need to own by the end of Wednesday because their ex-dividend date is Thursday, the 29th. We have just one I wanted to touch on, Xylem, ticker symbol XYL. Not a well-known company. I had invested in them years ago. They are involved in the equipment required for water utility companies, not refining, but let's say purification, distribution, etc. You see over the past year, there have not performed well, trading in the middle of the 52-week range right now, but over the past year, down almost 14%. But if you zoom out a little bit, over the past 5 years, up 90%, and over the past 10 years, up 240%. So if you, whatever, we don't need to get into it, but Xylem, they will be paying out on June 26th, 40 cents per share coming your way, just a 1.3% yield there. Thursday, May 29th, these are companies going ex-dividend on the 30th, Friday. So you need to own these by the end of Thursday. You've got Agree Realty Corporation, a REIT, ADC is the ticker symbol, paying out on June 13th, 25.5 cents per share for a just over 4% yield. You've got two of the Brookfield companies, Brookfield Renewable and Brookfield Infrastructure. BEP and BIP are the ticker symbols, both paying out on June 30th. Let's see, Brookfield Renewable yielding 6.3%, and Brookfield Infrastructure, BIP, yielding 5.3%. We have CSX Corporation, ticker symbol CSX. Makes it easy. June 13th payout, 13 cents per share coming your way, 1.7% yield. Dover Corporation, ticker symbol DOV. Again, not a well-known company, but a very, very old dividend king. They've been paying their growing dividend for 69 years. So one of the longest dividend paying companies in the world. 51.5 cents per share coming your way on June 16th for a 2% yield. Just looking at Dover real quick here, 24.5 billion on the market cap. If you're super unfamiliar with them, it's because they're involved with industrial machinery and industrial components. So certainly not a consumer-facing business, but very stable. Sales growth expected between 3 and 4.5% year over year for the next 3 years. Moderately valued, currently a 19 price to earnings ratio. EPS growth expected of 12.5, 9, and 7% for the next 3 years. 5-year dividend CAGR, very, very minimal. 1% growth on the dividend for the past 5 years, but only a 23% payout ratio. So, hey, when you've been paying a dividend distribution and you only have a 23% payout ratio, that's pretty incredible. Moving along, for companies that you would need to own by close of business on Thursday, we've got eBay, ticker symbol eBay, paying out on June 13th, 29 cents per share coming your way, 1.6% yield. Evercore, ticker symbol EVR, June 13th payout, 84 cents per share, 1.5% yield. Goldman Sachs, ticker symbol GS, big investment bank. I think probably the biggest. I don't think probably it is the biggest investment bank, certainly in the U.S. Paying out June 27th, a flat $3 per share. Nice even number there, 2% yield because shares are $600. Huntington Ingalls. I talked about Northrop Grumman with the large dividend increase to start the video. Huntington Ingalls is another big defense. Not as big, but defense contractor. HII is the ticker symbol. They are involved entirely in shipbuilding, so very prominent for the Navy. So they're also in that defense contractor video that I'll link to in the description. Their next distribution will be on June 13th, $1.35 per share, 2.4% yield. Also on Thursday, we have Stag Industrial, ticker symbol Stag, one of the coolest ticker symbols out there. June 16th distribution, 4.5% yield, just under 4.5%. If you're unfamiliar with Stag, it's a REIT that owns a lot of warehouses, big four logistic chains, as you know, logistics drive everything, right? So it's an industrial REIT. And focused on industrial properties. Let's see here. Let's see if they call it out. Well, I'm not going to read through all that, but you look at the revenue, beautiful up and to the right. Looking forward, revenue is expected to grow 9.5, 8.5, 11.5% for the next 3 years. Got to love that. Real profitable business model, right? Triple net leases, 31% net income margins, healthy balance sheet for a REIT. So yeah, honestly, a real nice REIT. Actually, one thing I'm curious about, I'm going to look this up real quick. If Stag is a monthly dividend if Stag is a monthly dividend paying company. Let's see. Stag dividend payer. Let's see. Let's see if they're monthly or quarterly. Yeah, it is a monthly dividend payer. So similar to Realty Income, who everyone loves, that is comfortable investing in REITs, that's known as the monthly dividend company. Stag is also a monthly dividend paying REIT. Moving along, Tyson Foods, ticker symbol TSN. You've probably eaten their chicken nuggets. Actually, a fun fact on Tyson: they are actually far larger in beef production than they are chicken. I don't know. That was something I'd heard a while back and thought that was kind of interesting. Their next dividend will be on June 13th, 50 cents per share, 3.6% yield. They've actually had a rough couple of years recently. Union Pacific, one of the largest railroads in North America, ticker symbol UNP, June 30th. So you're going to have to wait about a month for that next distribution. $1.34 per share coming your way, almost a 2.5% yield. And that covers everything I wanted to hit on for Thursday from an ex-dividend perspective. Moving to Friday, so these are companies you have to own by the end of the week because their ex-dividend date is June 2nd. The following Monday, next week, you've got Corteva, CTVA, I believe a large materials company. I think they're fertilizer. Let's take a look at Corteva. Yep, fertilizers and agricultural chemicals. Their next distribution will be on June 16th, 17 cents per share, 1% yield there. What else do we have for Friday? Basil, whatever you want to pronounce it, company we called out to start the video with the dividend increase with the nearly 10% dividend, but an over 100% dividend payout. And it's actually still blowing my mind that they just raised the dividend and have a payout ratio over 100%. That being said, their next distribution will be on June 9th, $1.37 cents per share coming your way. McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD. Next distribution will be on June 16th, $1.77, 2.25% dividend distribution there. 49 years of growing their dividend. So almost a dividend king for McDonald's. Certainly they will achieve that status. We also have McKesson Corporation, ticker symbol MCK. July 1st payout of 71 cents, a 0.4% yield on McKesson. Let's take a look at that real quick because their share price is $716. Wow, over the past year, up 28% at the very top of the 52-week range. Impressive. Their price to earnings ratio is still only at a 19, almost a $90 billion company. Wow. Over the past 5 years, McKesson up 380%. What does McKesson do? Are they a consulting firm? Okay, no. Healthcare distribution, pharmaceutical. Huh, okay. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with McKesson. 5 year CAGR on their dividend, 11%. Real healthy balance sheet, $7.5 billion in debt, $5.7 billion in cash. Might be something to check out if you're not opposed to investing in the pharmaceutical space. Just out of curiosity, their dividend growth, wow, 10-year CAGR on their dividend for McKesson of 11.1%. But over the past 3 years, they've juiced that all the way up to 14.5%. So they're actually accelerating what was already phenomenal dividend growth. Yeah. I mean, this is how you know their dividend growth has been fantastic. So their current dividend yield is just under 0.4%. But had you invested 5 years ago, it would be 1.84%. So not that that's a high yield, but it's over a 4x of the current dividend yield. So that's kind of neat. Moving along for the companies you need to own before the end of the week. From an ex-dividend perspective, we've got NextEra Energy, ticker symbol NEE. Next distribution will be on June 16th. 56.5 cents per share, 3.3% yield. I remember when NextEra was extremely low yield, even though it is technically a utility, big in this when the solar craze as a thematic investing theme was exploding years ago. NextEra Energy was pretty high flying. Nike, ticker symbol NKE. They've had some issues lately, haven't they? July 1st payout will be their next payout, 40 cents per share, 2.7% yield on Nike. I can remember when they were in the low ones on the yield. They've really been beaten up. The aforementioned Northrop Grumman, ticker symbol NOC, just had that fantastic dividend raise, bringing that yield to almost 2%. And their next distribution will be on June 18th of $2.31. Realty Income Corporation, we were talking about monthly dividend payers, monthly dividend REITs. We talked about STAG. We mentioned Realty Income, ticker symbol O, well, here it is. June 13th will be their next distribution of nearly 27 cents per share, just under a 6% yield on Realty Income. Principal Financial Group, ticker symbol PFG, June 27th of next distribution of 76 cents, almost a 4% yield on Principal Financial Group. Polaris, ticker symbol PII, the manufacturer of a lot of the ATVs and recreational vehicles, fun stuff. Snowmobiles, all that good stuff. June 16th will be their next payout of 67 cents, 7% yield on Polaris. So they've obviously been having some issues. Let's take a quick look at Polaris. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's been overcut in half over the past year, trading towards the bottom of the 52-week range. Oof. Down 73% over the past 10 years. Oh, my. 15.5% short interest on Polaris. That is not great. Yeah, you look at the revenue in 2023, $9 billion. Last year, $7.3 billion. And then here in 2025, we're expecting that to drop down to $6.7 billion before hopefully recovering to closer to $7 billion in 2026. So, yeah, things aren't going great. Yeah, payout ratio, 124%. I wouldn't anticipate that that dividend will go much longer without getting cut. Let's see. Yeah, this thing's got to get slashed at some point here. Moving along with the rest of the ex-dividends, let's see. One more wanted to cover. Texas Pacific Land Corporation, ticker symbol TPL. June 16th will be the next distribution. $1.60 per share coming your way. Only a 0.5% yield, a 0.5% dividend yield, because shares are almost $1,300. This is a very, very interesting company involved in oil and gas extraction. I'd have to do a whole deep dive on this one. It's a very interesting business model. It's done unbelievably well. Call it the shale and natural gas production boom in America. But over the past year, up 110%. Over the past 5 years, 550%. And then over the past decade, it is up nearly 2,500%. Back in 2015, it was trading for $50 a share. It spiked up here at the end of 2024. Let's see, at nearly $1,800 a share, now at $1,272. So it's a interesting company, but it would require a deep dive. It's very unique. I mean, just look at their balance sheet, right? Market cap is $29.25 billion, zero debt. So that's how you know right there that it's a interesting business model. But that does close things out for ex-dividend dates for the week ahead. So we'll close things out here with the best part, companies that are paying you money this week. And again, we're covering May 26th through, although the market is closed the 26th for Memorial Day through the 30th. So we've got Aflac, ticker symbol AFL. This one's actually paying out on June 2nd, so 2 Mondays from now, but 58 cents per share coming your way, 2.3% yield on Aflac. We have Church & Dwight, ticker symbol CHD, the manufacturer, producer of some household goods and consumer staples, paying out again June 2nd, 2 Mondays from now, almost 30 cents per share, 1.2% yield. CMS Energy Corporation, ticker symbol CMS, makes it easy, paying out May 30th, 54.25 cents per share, 3.1% yield. ConocoPhillips, ticker symbol COP. I think ConocoPhillips may be the largest weighted company in the very popular SCHD ETF. They'll be paying out on June 2nd, 78 cents per share, 3.7% yield I'm going to look that up real quick if ConocoPhillips is still the largest or highest weighted company in SCHD. Okay, now it's fallen to the third company here at 4.23%. Verizon and Coca-Cola are now weighted higher than ConocoPhillips. I think when they had done their annual reconstitution a couple months ago here in 2025, I think, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think ConocoPhillips, right after that reconstitution, was the highest weighted company. But moving along with our companies paying us money this week, Corterra Energy, CTRA, May 29th, 22 cents and 3.6% yield. Who else has given us money this week? Global Water Resources, big water utility, GWRS, May 30th, 2.5 cents per share, 2.9% yield. WW Granger, GWW ticker symbol, paying out $2.26 per share on June 1st, 0.8% yield. We have Kroger, the Kroger company, I think the largest grocery company in America, grocery stores. KR is the ticker symbol, June 1st, 32 cents per share, 1.9% yield there. MSCI, big index company, ticker symbol, MSCI, May 30th, payout date, $1.80 per share, 1.3% yield. Middlesex Water Company, big water utility, MSEX ticker symbol, June 2nd, payout 34 cents per share, 2.4% yield. Paychex, ticker symbol PAYX, paying out May 29th, $1.08 for a 2.8% yield. Pool Corporation, Pool ticker symbol, great ticker symbol. I believe that's who's behind Whirlpool, if you've ever had those washer and dryers, and I assume no, maybe that's not Whirlpool. Maybe Pool Corporation only does actual pools and hot tubs. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up right now. But May 29th payout date, $1.25 per share, 1.7% yield. Phillips 66, PSX ticker symbol, one of the OG oil and gas companies that got spun out of Standard Oil back in the day. June 2nd payout date, $1.20, 4.2% yield. Starbucks Corporation, SBUX is the ticker symbol. Almost a 3% yield on Starbucks now, similar to Nike. It was always a dividend growth play. The yield was never that great, but just like Nike, they've been beaten up. May 30th payout, 61 cents per share, 2.9% yield. JM Smucker Company, SJM, jams and jellies, baby. June 2nd payout, $1.08, 3.8% yield on that consumer staple. Target, TGT is the ticker symbol. Man, oh man, have they been beaten down this year, down 35% over the past years, over the past 5 years, still negative 18%, over the decade, 19%. Price to earnings ratio on this one under 13, almost a 5% dividend on target. We'll see if they can make it through this tariff environment and questionable economic condition moving forward. They've always had very, very minimal margins, 4% net income margin. It's like Kroger, very, very thin margins. So anything that impacts those margins, like say a tariff, really, really hits some of these businesses hard. But they are a dividend king. They have been growing the dividend at a over 11% 5-year CAGR. Payout ratios still only 55%. You're getting $4.50 per share on this thing a year. So yeah, anyway, they're paying out June 1st and almost a 5% yield. Visa, ticker symbol V, one of the great dividend growth stories of the past decade or two. June 2nd payout, so 2 Mondays from now, 59 cents per share, 0.7% yield there with Visa. And last, we'll do 2 more. WC Energy Group, WEC is the ticker symbol. June 1st payout of 89.25 cents, 3.3% yield. And lastly, Essential Utilities. Guess what? Their utility, WTRG ticker symbol, June 2nd, 32.5 cents per share, 3.4% yield. That wraps things up for the week ahead. Again, closing out May here. closing out our dividend roundup for the week ahead. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a